If you're thinking about moving to El Salvador, starting over, building something from scratch in another country, or when circumstances change and you no longer have access to things that you're used to, this channel's for you. Because here's the truth. It's not the big things that get you, it's the little things. Like finding yeast, or finding the right wheat flour, finding wood for projects, filament for a 3D printer, or just the right fabric for your next sewing project. Figuring out what works and what doesn't. So today we're making a simple loaf of bread, but really we're talking about what it takes to build a life from the ground up. Welcome to Making It in El Salvador. My name is Charity Hagenars. Before we even turn on an oven, I need to show you something. Every time I shopped for ingredients back in Canada, I grabbed flour, yeast, honey, and salt from a shelf, usually at a Walmart or Giant Tiger, and be home in 10 minutes. No thinking required. Here, it's different. I'm looking for wheat flour, not rice flour, not corn flour, just basic wheat flour or whole wheat. I'm not fussy. Then yeast, active yeast, not even on these shelves. And then there's the bakery section. There is bread here, but mostly it is heavily processed or designed to last way longer than bread should. If you want something simple and healthy, you usually have to make it yourself. Now, I have seen grocery store wheat flour somewhere. I think it was Mulsa brand, and it was like $5 a pound. That would make very expensive bread. I learned that you need to go to a specialized baking store to find basic flour and yeast, not at the grocery store. I've also used El Robles baking supplies online, and there's also Mulsa, they have flour as well. And then there's this little place beside a gas station near my community in Lourdes that sells baking supplies that I was just told about by my friend Wendy a couple of weeks ago. This right here, this is where making it actually begins. It is helpful to ask a local where to find all the things that we just took for granted in Canada or the United States. A lot of you watched my story on the main channel. Leaving everything behind, retiring early, moving our family to El Salvador, that video was emotional. It is the why. But ever since then, the number one question I get is, okay, Charity, but what do you actually do all day? Are you just sitting in a hammock? The truth is, retiring early doesn't mean doing nothing. It means having the freedom to work harder than ever, but on the things that actually matter to your family. Today, I'm baking a simple loaf of bread. Not sourdough, not fancy, although as you can see, my sourdough starter is right there. That's another video. But this is just a daily staple in our family. My kids eat a lot of bread, so we're just making a simple loaf of bread. But this channel isn't about bread. It's about building, and it's about engineering solutions. It's about moving from dream to the practical reality. We're going to be woodworking. We're going to be 3D printing parts that you can't buy here easily. And yes, we're going to be baking. We are building a self-reliant life. Let's get into it. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. Welcome to my very first video of Making It in El Salvador. If you're coming here from my main channel, thank you for continuing the journey with us. And if you're new here, welcome. On my main channel, I talk a lot about culture, travel, and what it's like to move to a developing country. But this channel, this is the engine room. This is where we roll up our sleeves, because when you live somewhere like this, you learn very quickly that you can't just call a guy for everything. And half the time, you don't even know the Spanish word for the kind of specialist you need. Sometimes you can't find the ingredient. Sometimes the part just doesn't exist. You know, there's only one place I found that sells Craig tools, and they only have the manual 2-hole pocket hole jig here, for example. So you either make it or you make do without it. Today we're starting with something fundamental, a basic loaf of sandwich bread. I know sourdough is having a moment, and I love a good fermenting rabbit hole, and I will do a video on that. But sometimes you just need a bread that's gonna work all the time. Something you can toast or something you can make a sandwich with. Utility matters. Back in Canada, I'd spend $2 and be done. Here, bread exists. I know, I've seen it in the stores, but it's often full of softeners and who knows what else. If you want a bread that fits our taste and our health, we make it. That trade-off, convenience for control, is a big theme of our life here. The recipe itself is simple. Water, yeast, honey, salt, flour, and a little fat. But the environment changes everything. It's hot, it's humid. The dough behaves nothing like it did in Canada. especially in a dry winter in Canada. I don't follow the recipe, I read the dough. And honestly, that lesson applies everywhere here. Concrete sets faster. Wood moves differently as it's drying out. Plastic prints behave differently. You adapt. People hear self-reliance, they think of chickens and big gardens. I'd love chickens again, but this is our backyard. So for us, self-reliance looks a little different. This channel rests on 4 pillars. Building and woodworking, metric lumber, different wood species, aggressive termites. We build furniture and fixes that survive this climate and the pests. And number 2, tech and 3D printing. When a plastic knob breaks or a bracket doesn't exist locally, we'll have to print it. Modern tools solving old school supply problems. And the kitchen, adapting recipes, preserving food, sourcing locally, and using what grows right outside. And number 4, making, sewing, fixing, gardening solutions. Creative problem solving, that's that main topic. If it's broken, we fix it. If we need it, we build it. If we're hungry, we bake it. Now add a little oil to the top of the dough and then form the dough into a bit of a ball and use the oily dough to grease the inside of your mixing bowl because it's going to raise there for about 3 hours. Now look at this, 3 hours and we're done. No proofing oven needed. The heat works for us here in this country. This lifestyle isn't for everyone, but if you like figuring things out and if you enjoy tinkering, if you want less dependence on systems you can't control, you'll feel right at home here. Yes, the power flickers. Yes, humidity rusts tools overnight. Yes, prints fail and bread flops sometimes. But the pride, that part is huge. You taste it, not just the bread. You taste it in the life you're building. Simple, fundamental, made right here. If you're interested in the nuts and bolts of living abroad, the building and the fixing and adapting, you're in the right place. So please consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps this channel grow. And tell me in the comments, what do you want to see more of? Woodworking, 3D printing fixes, kitchen adaptations? I read every comment and I want to build this channel with you. Gracias por acompañaros. We'll see you in the next one.
Smash that like button.